he does.
And a draw. We saw Hikaru knight a2, knight b4 repetition. He probably could have continued, but like I said, he doesn't necessarily feel like he has the need to take crazy risks with black, and we see them repeating the line from game one.
Okay.
It's going to be one of those matches, I think.
So both players satisfied with this, and I think that there was no action in the first game that would tell you like, oh my gosh, I have to jump ship for my opening.
Right.
It was definitely not decided by the opening, so I could see both players like going back to the same thing, rather than them really feeling that one player or the other got the advantage in the opening choice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what Ding played here. I think it was bishop f5, but don't quote me on that. Mm-hmm. And rook e1 is aimed at preparing bishop f1. Again, as we discussed, white's main plan here is ultimately to surround this a4 pawn. And white's also got a lot of these helpful improving moves like rook c1, maybe knight e5 at some point. So
yeah,
hard to.
Why wasn't black able to play a3 at any point? Is that like, was there never a moment to do that?
Oh, here's a funny line.
Right after bishop d2.
If white plays knight b1 here, it's like, oh, I have a discovery against the queen. But black plays a takes b2 and makes a new queen. And then white can try to trap it, but fails due to queen takes a2. What a line. That only
bishop would have been so proud if it captured 2 queens in 2 moves.
Right. I think the reason is b takes a3, believe it or not, because if black takes it, there's this very unpleasant knight jump to b5. Maybe this is possible, but it seems a little bit iffy. The knight gets to c7.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, bishop f5 has been played. Bishop f1, queen a7, and h3.
Yeah, I guess black just doesn't yet have the development at that point to take advantage of the c file. But the idea of a4, a3 would be to sort of undermine the knight on c3 and then have some play on the c file. Anyway, they're in a stodgy position like last time. This time, black's thrown in the move h5 to reduce white's possible pushes there, but it weakens g6 a lot. If white can put the king on g2 to defend the kingside pawns and then bring the bishop to d3 later and pressure g6, there's something to work with.
I just don't love having these positions against Hikaru. Like I said before the match started, positions that are objectively equal, but where there's a lot going on under the surface. Not only is Hikaru incredibly fast, but he just knows how to create practical problems and how to make them essentially unsolvable in the context of a blitz game. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of that here in the first 2 games where he's white.
Yeah.
And yeah, black's queen is not great either.
And we're seeing it on the clock right now. I mean, I try to look at these things not through the lens of like, I expect Hikaru is going to win the match, so everything he's doing is the right thing.
Right.
but as to the point that you're making about making it sort of practically impossible for the opponent, I mean, look at that time lead that he has there of like 2 minutes, like straight out of the opening. You know, he flirts with the repetition.
And there it is again. And now declines it with bishop g2. And again, Ding has to decide which of the minor pieces he's taking. I was a little surprised that he took the knight on c3 last time. I was more leaning toward this idea that I mentioned, but knight takes c2, knight a5.
Yeah. Maybe he'll try the other flavor this game.
And one of the components of this practical play is forcing your opponent to constantly make decisions. Now, you never know which decisions are truly important, so you don't know how long to spend on them. And you know, that is even a thing, decision fatigue. It kind of drives you crazy when you have to constantly decide, well, do I trade this piece with that piece? You know, do I push this pawn or that pawn? Hikaru always puts you in these positions.
Yeah. Here, by the way, folks, knight a4 just runs into rook takes knight. So that's not a pawn that Ding is hanging. Sorry, knight takes
a4.
You're saying.
Oh, a4, right. No, rook takes knight, and then the bishop on d2 hangs.
Yeah.
Although, you could take on e4 afterward, but d takes c4, queen a4, bishop e3. Could be an idea.
Forcing rook takes c6.
Right, another sacrifice, and then queen and bishop a5 would be insane. Look at this position. Rook a8. I love these sequences where you have like a million desperados in a row.
Oh yeah, the most fun.
And that's a funny line. In any case, Hikaru's turn now. To think he plays the solid rook c2 defending the b2 pawn. He is relinquishing some of the pressure on a4, but this is his top priority.
Yeah, a safe move and leave the pressure on. Knight e4 is going to basically be off the table because of bishop b3 for black for a while. So he's going to have to figure out how to pose his next question to Ding, right? Make the next like annoying threat. I wonder if Queen B1 might be a move coming for white at some point.
Ding just made a nice move. I think the idea is he's trying to kick the knight away and then play bishop f5 and create more problems against the rook.
Yeah, that's annoying. Good spot. And Hikaru just agreed. He just went like, yeah, that is annoying.
Yeah, he has that slightly concerned look.
Multiple annoyance.
And the eval bar slowly creeping up in black's favor. Maybe even it's time to consider something concrete like e5 in some position.
Although I don't blast open that bishop pair.
Well, the downside of that is that, of course, you'll get the IQP structure or the d4 square that white can occupy and blockade. So rook ac8 could be, oh, no, then you hang a4. Oh, it's annoying. That's why it's annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. And maybe queen b3 could be like a little creeping move.
Little zinger.
Because
now I think knight takes g5. I don't like that move.
Yeah.
I feel like Hikaru can sack the exchange, and then in the end, he can take the d5 pawn. Even with the bishop. And guess what? That pawn on g6 you mentioned a while ago, that could end up being hanging with a queen on c2, simply attacking it.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Okay, he gives the exchange. And now which way to take? I mean, bishop d5 e6 defends it, but then there's bishop takes e6 with queen g6 coming.
Great point. Bishop takes d5, e6, bishop takes c6, and then queen takes g6.
When there's this unopposed light squared bishop, I always want to try and like block it off with my pawns. Like I want to play e6, but no. So maybe it would have to be king g7. The other thing I like to do is put my king not on the color square of my opponent's.
Yeah, and then maybe Hikaru can just drop his bishop down to a2 because bishops are just as effective, even more effective when they're out of the way and operating at a distance. And man, I like white's center. I like white's knight. Can jump out to e4 at some point. And I like Hikaru's time advantage. This is a very concerning position for Ding.
Yeah. All right, king g7. That's what I would have done. And bishop a2. That's what you would have done. So
yeah. And now the pawn on a4 is hanging. I'm not sure Ding needs to. I would say the top priority for black is somehow bring his pieces into the game. Maybe go e6 at some point to blunt the bishop. Ding is down to a minute on the clock, though.
Yeah.
This is going to be tough.
Yeah, I feel like he needs to get at white's king. There's no pieces around the white king right now.
Yep, and he listens to you.
All right.
Is it dangerous after g4?
I don't know if it's dangerous or not. It's just the direction I was looking.
Yeah, that's the direction black needs to try to play. And unfortunately, black also doesn't have too many pieces on the king side.
Yeah. The idea I was trying to make work out was some version of like rook c8, e5. Then white's generally going to play d5 to try and keep our knight out, and then setting up knight d4 because we need to somehow transfer a piece to the king side here.
Well, Ding had a minute. He's taken 30 seconds.
Could also bring the queen to d7 and play f5.
Yeah, interesting idea. I mean, of course, f5 immediately can't really make happen. He does play e6. On knight e4, Hikaru could also take on a4 and get his knight to c5.
Yeah.
Which I think he's going to do.
Yeah. Dropping that pawn for nothing is not fun.
Yeah, now white has a material advantage, and now b4, bishop b2 is another idea, and create collinear bishops that both are aimed at black's king. Ugh. This is nasty. There it is.
Yeah, it's long-term, a lot of pressure, but
I feel like
also
all of the thousands of games I played against Hikaru made me a little better at guessing his moves, but it does not help when I'm playing him. Now, I would say you could move the queen to pave the way for knight e4. You don't want to go d5 prematurely because then you allow bishop f6 and you get into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, and in general, with that pawn on g4, I feel like white's happy to keep the center closed for the moment and squeeze until black runs out of ideas. I think the idea of maneuvering the knight to c5 could be really nice. Use your pawn majority on the queen side. So bishop b3 to cover the c2 square at some point, queen on e2, expand on the queen side.
And 14.7 seconds is not an amount you ever want to have in the middle game against Hikaru, or ever.
Yeah, or in the end game.
Even if you're up a queen and you have 10 seconds, you're basically busted. He'll find a way to complicate it.
Yeah. I don't even like to have 14 seconds
Queen
on my
F3.
clock when I'm facing Skyhawk 59 over here. I mean, I just don't like 14 seconds.
Right. Not a reassuring amount. Queen F3 and knight E4 looks like an interesting reshuffling.
Yeah. Okay. Covering the C2 square with the rook. That was
Queen F4,
unexpected.
I don't really see why Hikaru's not moving his queen. And I mean, it seems like a very natural concept. And he does move his queen to D3. And that's why I suggested Queen F3, because then Ding wouldn't have been able to move his king back.
Yeah.
Of course, this is still really good. I mean, look at White's position, but not quite as convincing as I thought it would be.
Well, basically, Black needs to be able to play B6 now. What? Offers the queen trade?
Ooh.
That was a surprise.
And Ding declines it, instead centralizing his knight. But Hikaru's time advantage has dwindled considerably. He's got 25 seconds himself. He's not making too much progress on either side of the board. And Ding can play B6, chase the knight away, and he'll have the C file.
Yeah.
B6, Queen B5 hitting the rook.
Nice move. Ding with some very nice moves here.
And some nice play in time pressure. He's moving fast and so far moving accurately, but down to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Hikaru could consider the move G5 at some point to lock up that king side.
Yeah.
E2, Queen D7.
So fast.
Look at the eval bar just performing
yo-yoing around,
gyrating and performing some gymnastics there.
Ding is just saying Hikaru's doing nothing. I'm going to play my moves as fast as possible for the moment.
I would be shocked if Hikaru repeats moves here. I would be absolutely shocked. I think he's going to try to go F4 or something very risky.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's reshuffling, getting his knight to F3. Just don't go E4 because then knight F4 is a fork. G5. He's just going to pick up the H pawn.
And
you know what? White
could shuffling, huh?
Black could try knight takes B4 here. Okay, I think maybe knight takes B4 existed. Not anymore. And H4, rook H1, H5.
He's never going to trade any of his bishops.
You're never going to beat Hikaru at his own game. Not in these positions. I mean, he's just going to steamroll you.
Pawn. Ow.
GF and E7. Queen takes G6. It's over.
Wow.
Bishop C1 is a nice move too.
Oh yeah, Bishop C1 would be nice.
There it is.
There it is.
A little late, but better late than never. Ooh. Apparently that was a mistake, but Queen F7. Oh,
who knows?
Wait, that's wrong. Oh my God, it's gonna get mated on H3.
There's mate on one queens.
Oh my goodness, he missed mate on H3. Hikaru's gonna lose. He's gonna flag. What? Oh my goodness!
Unbelievable.
What a huge howler by Hikaru for